My name is Dr. William Conti. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and a Jungian-oriented analytic psychologist, also a former Catholic priest. And this channel and this podcast is dedicated to an amazing, a remarkable singer, artist, and performance artist, Grace Vanderwaal. I've been following Grace since I first saw her audition on America's Got Talent 10 years ago now. She was 12 years old at the time. And you could see that from the moment she stepped on stage, she captured the imagination and the heart of everyone in the studio when she performed her I Don't Know My Name introductory piece. During that whole season of America's Got Talent, where they see hundreds of acts, hundreds of people, she plowed her way through that entire process to emerge, of course, as as the winner of that season. Since then, she has navigated an very amazing and very quite complex process of growing up in the music business, in the public eye, which is a perilous journey for any of us from the ages of 12 to she's 21 now, especially during the teen years, when under what we would call like normal conditions. The reason I created this channel in this podcast is that being, I suppose, a clinical psychologist and a former priest, I'm probably naturally wired in a certain way of taking in life, reality, people, their energy. And for me, she has an incredible gift, and that I believe she's one of those rare, unique, one-of-a-kind people that come along every so often to channel that something from another space through her and out to the community, out to us. These people aren't always aware that they're doing that. They may not think in those terms. And there are many examples in our culture of people who have had that, we would say, almost like being tasked by God or by the universe. Like, you have this mission and you're going to be the conduit via which energies and messages and feelings that maybe you aren't even consciously in touch with yourself are going to go out and reach many people in their own minds, hearts, and souls. And it's a big undertaking, and there are many examples of people who refuse that, they may not be aware that they are, or who have been burdened with it. One good example was in the book Iron John, during the men's movement. It came out during the 80s, I think, maybe the 90s, where he talks about Marilyn Monroe, who carried the goddess archetype. She couldn't help it. She wasn't like trying to be this goddess or any of that, but she was saddled with it, and every man and woman in America could see it and feel it. But the archetype was too big for her. And in Jungian psychology, we know that the archetypes are bigger than the ego. They're bigger, larger, and stronger than the individual personality that carries them. And not everyone can bear it. And in Iron John, he says that that's what killed her, that she didn't have the stability of mental stability and emotional support. She had a very difficult childhood and was in many ways a very fragile personality who needed a lot of reassurance and support. So it was really too big for her. And we also see many in the music world who we find out they can't get through the whole ordeal. Amy Winehouse is one example. Janis Joplin, Hollywood celebrities, etc. But so far, for me, Grace channels that so beautifully that she is able, like a shaman, she's able to go to, we would call the underworld, and in Jungian psychology, we would call that the unconscious. She's like all true artists, she's able to access or receive images, emotions, feelings, and we would say maybe transmute those into actual sensate manifestations that we out here in the physical world can hear, see, music, dance, performance art, emotions. And there's also the vibrational aspect to her voice. This is only my second episode of this podcast. The first one went live on YouTube 3 days ago, and I've gotten several responses in such a short period of time, which was surprising because the reason I'm doing this is that she affects me in such a way that I wondered what do other people experience when they hear and see Grace. There may be whole spectrums of feeling, emotion, light, spiritual enhancement or whatever that I'm missing, and that my desire and goal is to create a community where we can all share our experiences of grace. Because oftentimes all I need to hear, which is how something is alive, is a person shares one thing, and that opens up a whole new avenue, like of associations and memories and feelings, and that just someone else will say something and share something else, and then you know then you know that it's a living entity. You know, it's not something just printed in a book and like in stone, that it takes off a life of its own. And there is learning and teaching and maybe inspiration and healing from that. One of the responses that I got from the first episode 3 days ago was a man. He shared that he's heard about, I think he might be working in the field, many Vietnam War veterans and other war veterans who have PSD, who they find listening to her music healing the vibration, whatever it is she's channeling out, they find soothing, healing, helpful. I don't know if that's what she was thinking of when she went into show business. Maybe. Again, she doesn't even need to know about that. So that is the goal of this podcast and the reason for it. Just one more thing, vibration. My husband is a Buddhist meditation teacher and a psychic, a Buddhist and Taoist. And he often shares a story of the doctor in Japan who did and he teaches meditation. We have meditation and chanting groups here in our community. And he teaches about the power of chanting, and that the power in it has to do with the vibrations that it creates. And he tells the story of a doctor who did an experiment. I think this is kind of a well-known experiment with water, and he put one bottle of water out on the street where there's a lot of traffic and noise, and the other bottle in the temple where the monks have been chanting for several hours, and then looked at the water molecules under electron microscope. And you could see that the electron microscope showed that the molecules in the water on the street were misshapen and chaotic and very kind of messy. And the molecules in the water from the temple were like flowers. They were configured in these beautiful shapes and flowers, geometric shapes and flowers, etc. So that to make the point that the vibration has a actual physical effect on us, on our bodies. Our bodies are, I think, 80% water, I've heard. And of course, the body is the same as the mind, the emotions, the psyche, and the spirit. They're all connected. So in some ways, with my background, I guess, in the ministry and as a psychologist, sometimes I often view Grace and others like her like they're performing a ministry. They're like showing up and sharing, letting this come through them to large crowds of people. And now, of course, with modern day technology, through their music, their recorded music, movies, etc. So again, I'd like to tweak everyone's curiosity, and if any of this hits home for you, I'd be interested in hearing about any reactions or associations or experiences you've had with Grace, and what effect she and her music might be having on you, and maybe those in your life. So I'm very excited to be starting this podcast, and I hope it becomes meaningful to all of us. Thank you.